working for the last 3 4 years, I guess, when Sonali approached me, and I'm
Yes, sir.
delighted to be associated, in their forum, wherein we discuss science, we discuss technologies, we discuss future aspects of budding scientists, how they would like to be, which domain they would be interested in, and how we, as a, I would say, uh, uh, participant or a member in scientific fraternity can add value to them or to their professional growth. And that's what this forum is meant all about. Once again, thank you very much, and let me start my presentation. My topic of presentation is a vectored vaccine, which is a game changer in poultry industry. So I will be giving you a perspective that how the poultry industry is the shift in the trend is in terms of the technologies. Now the industry is moving towards for vaccine, and how this is changing the scenario of profitability and the whole poultry industry per se. So if you see the vaccine technology selection criteria, it is multifactorial. It depends on many aspects, be it species, be it the time frame, which is sometimes you need a long-term immunity. For broilers, you need a short-term immunity. Then some diseases you need a humoral mediated immune response. Some you need a more cellular mediated immune response. For some challenging diseases, you need both. Then type of infectious agent against which the vaccine you are trying to make, the nature and type of the antigens, which could be root cell extracts, classical old technologies, purified, recombinant, synthetic, vector, so on, so forth. Administration, it could be systemic, it could be mucosal, and now there is more delivery systems are getting designed to see to ease of the vaccine and vaccinate. So overall, what we are expecting from an ideal vaccine is having a wonderful potency with absolute safety and either no or acceptable local reaction. But do we have any universal vaccine technology available which can be 100% in all the aspects in terms of efficacy, safety, stability, potency, performance? I would say no. There is no single universal vaccine technology available as on date which can take care of all the aspects to 100%. So what we need to do is to make the balance between these critical aspects of a vaccine success, and then decide that how we have to play as a choice. Okay. So what are the challenges we need to address in poultry industry? Let me give you a key perspective about the challenges in poultry industry we are having as on date. It is multifactorial. There are many challenges which a poultry industry players they're facing day to day. But some of the key challenges which I try to extrapolate here is poultry vaccine requirement in poultry industry is unique. Like short-term responses you need for broilers, medium-term responses you need for layers and breeders. You need to have multivalency in a vaccine so that less number of vaccines you need to put in the poultry birds over a period of their lifetime. So the less number of vaccines in a period of lifetime, less frequency of stress you are putting in the birds and more productivity you expect. Then so much mass vaccination is needing at the moment that, I mean, there is no single vaccine or technology which can cater to this need, in terms of multivalency and at the same time mass vaccination. Nowadays, new innovative technologies which are solving the challenges of industry is innovo vaccination, and which world is moving towards slowly. Then comes ideal vaccine expectation in poultry industry for all of us is to see that you know, in, induction of a strong and long-lasting immune response. Vaccine dose can we, reduce the antigenic payload and, play on the cost economy of a vaccine or in the industry. Diminution of number of injections over a period of time in the lifetime of a poultry. Then modulation of type of immune response, as I said, humoral, cell mediated. For challenge diseases, sometimes more of a cell mediated than the humoral, and sometimes both. So these are the practical expectations from an ideal vaccine in poultry. Then stress is causing a lot of immunosuppressions, and diseases are also causing a lot of infections. So immunosuppression is also one of the biggest challenge poultry industry is facing, and these are again multifactorial. It depends on animals, inherent type of breed, stress, age, maternal antibody, genetics, infectious agents. Feed are adding immunosuppressions to the birds, whether it's composition, toxins, environmental toxins. Then density, litter, the way you are practicing the management in a farm is also adding stress and immunosuppression. Then if it is a killed vaccine, in the poultry industry, you are practicing it, what kind of adjuvant technology you are using? Most of the time, the gold standard practice is oil adjuvants, be it water in oil, double immersion, or single immersion, or oil in water technology. But here the emphasis is because antigens are precious, can we add more oil and adjuvant to come out of, as a efficacious vaccine, and at the same time save the cost. But then this has its own implications, down the line in terms of, again, stress and immunosuppressions. Then there are practical challenges with the vaccine is immunity gap, because you have a maternal immunity which comes from the the parent to the chicks, and then this gap, if you are giving a vaccine too early, the maternal immunity is not allowing you to have the full efficacy and potency of the vaccine you have made it. And if you are practicing and vaccinating too late in the vaccination, this immunity gap is causing your birds to be susceptible, your whole flock is susceptible for the disease. Protection is also a challenge after a vaccination due to this immunity gap. If you see the struggle of a broiler, I'm talking particularly about broiler here because broiler is the very critical mass of poultry industry, and 80% of the industry is depending on the broiler business. So if you see the broiler struggle over a lifetime, 6 to 7 week is the market age. It starts with the inherent stress and then it converted into transient separation. Now, if you see hatch stress, vaccination, transportation stress, how many different types of stress a bird has to go through in their lifetime, and then every stress is causing the susceptibility towards an infection. For example, Marek's disease, enteric viruses group are very common. Then slowly and slowly, when the maternal derived antibody MDA decreases from first week onwards, there are number of diseases which has a chance to pop up, like IBD, chicken anemia virus, and then there are consequences to the transient immunosuppression in terms of flourishing of other diseases, which includes Coccidia, E. coli, and all of that. So, how to take care of this challenge? Current vaccine which is available in poultry industry is not catering to the expectation and meeting the demand of what industry is needing in terms of vaccine and effect of vaccine. I'm taking a standard case of the most endemic disease in poultry industry, be it broiler, be it layer, be it breeder, is IBD. It's a very devastating disease. In terms of productivity, it is the most critical disease in poultry industry all across. And if you see, again, you have a choice to make a balance between safety and efficacy. One side, if you see, there is evolution of the strain you as a vaccine strain used in IBD. which is mild to intermediate to host. And you can see this in this slide, that if you know go from mild to intermediate to host, what are you getting? You are getting better efficacy, but you are compromising on the safety, and this is basically the immunosuppression. So it's not a pre B aspect for you. So you are trying to attain better efficacy in presence of material antibodies, and at the same time immunosuppression becomes a challenge. So what to deal, how to deal with it, and what to do. So it means the industry is needing a new technology for a vaccine which can take care of both aspects, isn't it? So let me take you through the evolution of the vaccine being used in such kind of diseases, and I'm taking example here specifically for IBD, but it can be any disease which is endemic in nature and challenging. For example, ILD, for example, ND, for example, ND and IBD. So there are vaccines available, but I'm talking about how the vaccine technology is shifting from old classical one to the new generations. Now, see, the first generation vaccine, which is conventional and live vaccine, it has its own challenges, and there are many factors affecting the vaccination to be a success. Cold chain, time of vaccination, duration of vaccine intake, what is the drinking water quality, and all of that. Every aspect has a consequence in the success of the vaccine. Then the industry moved from classical conventional live vaccine technology to the second generation vaccine technology, which we call it as immune complex. And what is it? It is nothing but an intermediate plus type of virus strain being conjugated and coated with their own antibody, IBD specific antibody. So what is happening with this technology? It is giving you a little edge than the conventional live one, because the conjugated IBD antibodies, they kind of delay the replication of the vaccine virus, because and protect to an extent from the maternal antibodies from the parent. But at the same time, the biggest consequence, or I would say the repercussions with this technology is, for this particular disease, the virus goes inside the bursa, which is the immune organ, defense organ, immune organ in the bird, and cause a heavy damage. And as a result, it causes immune suppressions down the line in the birds, and the bird becomes more susceptible to many kinds of infections, in their life. Then the shift is towards more and more new cutting edge technologies being practiced in vaccine industry, and which is what the third generation vaccine, we call it as vectored vaccine. The first one was the classical one, was modified live. Then the second generation, we call it as immune complex. And the third generation, the advanced one, we call it as vectored vaccine. I'm giving you an example, a trade name called Vaccitech, which is a brand name for Boehringer Ingelheim product, the company I work with. But this is again the same technology, which is a vectored vaccine technology, a frozen live vector bivalent vaccine, which incorporates both MD and infectious, bursal disease, IBD. And this is preventing from both the diseases, which is IBD, MD in the birds. How it is preventing, what this technology is all about, I'll deal with it in the coming slides. First of all, what this vector vaccine, recombinant vector vaccine is. It's a live replicating virus which is genetically engineered to carry extra genes derived from a pathogen. In this case, the gene derived from the pathogen is IBD. So IBD is the virus from where a particular gene which is conserved in nature, immunogenic one, we are trying to get it and then incorporate into the host. And these extra genes, which is transgenes, produce proteins against which we want to generate the immunity. Now, for that gene to be inserted, we need a carrier molecule, and that should be neutral. So these are called as vectors. What are vectors? They are typically chosen to be avirulent or immune component host. Vaccine evolution will result no more than a harmless infection and which does not generate immunity to the antigen encoded by transgene. So ideally, the host is just causing the multiplication of the virus without having any immune implications to it. And at the same time, the transgene, which is gene of interest, which you want to get this multiplied in the host, will get multiplied and express the protein. This example which I am putting it here is a Vaccitech, which is again Boehringer Ingelheim's product, HPT IBD, which is a bivalent disease, a bivalent vaccine, is a frozen live vector bivalent vaccine. Now, there is a gene called VP2. Now, there are many genes in the IBD virus, and I've taken the example here, which is the vaccine strain. The virus is Farragut 52 by 70 strain, and VP2 gene is the gene of interest here, which we have taken it out and put it in the vector, and that vector is the HVT. Okay. So see how this incorporation was done through genetic engineering. The genome, which could be DNA or RNA. In this case, HVT, it's a stable DNA virus host, so it's a DNA genome. And in that, the green one, which we see here, is the gene of interest, which is, VP2 gene, and this is got inserted, and then the transcription, which is a process of, getting the desired mRNA, and then translation, which is process of protein, is done inside the host cell. When the host cell multiplies, they also express the protein of your interest of the transgene which you have inserted. This is what the structure and technology is about. VP2, the green, the portion of this gene which you are seeing in the slide is getting inserted into the host of HPT virus. Now, in broad way, what could be the mechanism of action where you are getting efficacy, safety, and potency of this vaccine is by achieving better humoral and cell-mediated immunity against both the diseases which you are, trying to achieve in this bivalent vaccine, which is IBD. And this is again a typical way of, uh, action of a vaccine, because when you inject the vaccine, either in ovo, in the egg, or in the day-old chick, the antigen gets presented to the effector B and T cells. Also, memory cells gets produced down the line, and then the chain starts, which is virus replication cycle, wherein the host multiplies in the body of a poultry, and at the same time, the transgene, which is gene of interest, which is BP2, which got inserted in the genome, also gets, expressed. So there will be expression and overexpression of protein, which is free BP2 protein, and there will be a free HVT virus in the body of the poultry, and that's how they can overcome the countering effect of the disease. But what is the unique advantage? Unique advantage is you don't have to worry about the maternal derived antibody. Why? Because this immunity gap will be taken care of. There will be no immunity gap with this vaccine. Why? Because Vaccitech HPT IBD is not an IBD virus, because you have inserted the transgene only VP2. So it will limit the action of maternal derived antibody on the vaccine virus. So the protection will also be achieved. At the same time, you don't have to be worried about the maternal derived antibody in the chicks. Now, if you see the challenges we are facing with the IBD live vaccine, this is the challenge. This vaccine, the classical live vaccine, needs to be applied at a time when they are able to break through the maternal immunity. And so understanding when the maternal immunity will go down, so that your vaccine will not get nullified, through the maternal antibody. And there is a small hiatus, which is basically nothing but a immunity gap and that particular point of time your bird is very susceptible to the virus or the infections. And here in this case, very virulent IBD strains or IBD variants, they can infect your flock and affect the whole poultry industry in the farm which or the industry which we are trying to protect. So one side you have a passive immunity from the maternal immunity going down. Another side you have given a vaccine with which the active immunity you are expecting over a period of time. And in between, at a crossroad, there is some time, some particular time in the cycle of the vaccination where your birds are having a immunity gap, and that time your birds and your flock is very susceptible to the variants and the very virulent uh, pathotypes of the viruses or infection in general I'm talking about. So this is a challenge with the live vaccine, but with vectored vaccine you don't have to worry about this immunity gap. Why? Because as I said earlier, you can do this vaccination on day old bird chicks. You can do this vaccination in ovo, in egg itself, and from the day one this virus starts multiplying without having any diminution effect from the maternal antibody. Single application of a vaccine at hatchery is sufficient. That is why this is a hatchery technology. It's a gold standard uh, technology being used in hatchery vaccines. There is no immunity gap you need to worry about. No immunosuppression caused by the virus or the vaccine, because this vaccine doesn't go inside the bursa and multiplies the way the other classical vaccines or immune complex vaccines are. So there will be no impact on the bursa. Bursa will be healthy, intact, and you will get the best immunity from the bird which you are expecting. Early immunity development with this technology is very evident, even though there is a presence of maternal antibody, which is a challenge with the other classical old technologies that I talked about. Yes, you can do it in Innovore, you can do it in day-old chicks, and this machine which you see is available in market, in which you can give a vaccination in hatchery, and it's very fast. Even 2,000 birds per hour is fast. So in IBD, 14 days is the early onset of immunity you are expecting, and for Marek's disease, fourth day itself, the efficacy is can be achieved. Now you can ask me this question: the why HVT has been chosen as a vector in this technology? Why? Because HVT is a non-pathogenic virus of turkey species. This particular HVT strain is being used as a Marek's disease vaccine, classical vaccine, since 1971. So we know all ins and outs about this particular strain, and it is evident that this non-pathogenic virus in chickens. It has a very wide use. It has well established safety. Its DNA virus is very stable, so inserting a transgene into this genome is not very challenging. There is no chicken to chicken transmission of HBT, so horizontal transmission risk is also gone. The other thing is, like in live vaccine, you have a risk of wild reversion, which is also not possible in this case. Again, this is a unique feature this platform is providing. HBT is poorly sensitive to maternal antibodies. So as I explained, that you don't have to worry about this maternal antibody derived issues. And one shot of HBT induces persistent. Now, if I talk about this bivalent vaccine of new technology, which is Vaccitech HBT IBD in a nutshell, what is the unique value proposition this vaccine offers is one single vaccination is sufficient to protect against two diseases, which is IBD and MD. Here I am talking about bivalent vaccine, which is IBD and MD, but in field there are a lot of multivalent vaccines are being offered by several companies, including Boehringer Ingelheim, on with vector vaccine technology I'm talking about. This could be IBD, MD. This could be trivalent, which is IBD, MD, ND. We are offering Vaccitech IBD, HBT, IBD, and ND, which is trivalent. In fact, HBT, IBD, and ILT is also available in market. So there are various options available with this technology as far as vaccination is concerned. One single Hatchery administration is sufficient at day old or in ovo. Safety efficacy balance is there, so there is no immunosuppression caused. The bird is at full healthy stage, and the the chronic respiratory syndrome and other mycoplasma diseases which a bird encounters down the line over the period of time because of the stress and immunosuppression is not going to happen if you use this technology in the industry. Then broad protection against relevant IBD virus pathotypes. I will have my slides down the line where I can show you that how many pathotypes have been challenged to find out that is there any less protection and less immunity with this technology, which is not. So it is working against almost all the pathotypes you can think of, which is havoc in the poultry industry as far as IBD is concerned. Lifelong duration of immunity can be achieved very easily, and early onset of immunity, as I said earlier, that you don't have to worry about maternal derived immunity nullification. Mode of action is more or less I explained in my earlier slide. Infection of the target cells with HBT IBD vector vaccine, and then this vector multiplies in the poultry body, and then the VP2 protein gets released and expressed and overexpressed, and then this causes protection against both the different infectious agents we are thinking of to have the immunity, which is IBD and MD. This is the value proposition advantage of this vaccine, that VP2 gene can be inserted, and then this vaccine is giving you immunity on day 1 itself, and from 14th day the IBD is, you can have a full protection and early onset of immunity. For IBD it is 14th, and for MD it is 4th. No bursal lesions are noticed with this technology. Now, if I have to compare between these 3 generation technologies for vaccine available for this disease market, now how can we benchmark and how can we see in terms of value proposition and different technologies of vaccines are offered? If you compare like to like, modified live vaccine, hatchery administration, no. Immunity gap, yes. Immunosuppression, yes. Broiler vaccination and layer is possible. But with second generation vaccine technology, which is immune complex, hatchery vaccination is allowed. Immunity gap, it can be taken care of to an extent, but since it is multiplying in bursa, so immunosuppression it cause, which is again I think a challenge to deal with, because the bird will get into immunosuppression and the bird is not giving you the productivity which is expected from them in terms of FCR and economy. I would say the rearing of the bird cost, and they are more prone to the susceptible diseases down the line due to immunosuppression, which is advantageous with the vector vaccine technology, wherein you are having all the unique value proposition. Hatchery vaccination, yes. Immunity gap, no. Immune suppression, no. Broiler vaccination, yes. Layer and beta, yes. So it means this is the best of technology to offer in birds, be it broiler, be it layer, be it breeder, to get rid of these diseases without having any consequence. I have some data to showcase that how the performance is. You see the bursal integrity data, bursa diameter in centimeter. If you see post vaccination, the green one is unvaccinated flocks bird in experiment, and the blue one is vaccinated bird. So the diameter reflects the integrity of the bursa of SPH chicks, which is equal to unvaccinated. So it is just because this vaccine is not going to multiply in bursa, so no impact on bursa, and bursa will be healthy as it is. So no immunosuppression. Now, if you see the bursal lesions, there is a scoring done by the industry expert. So scoring is in between, somewhere 1 to 3, 3.5 and all. with this vaccine, vectored vaccine, especially Vaccitech HBT IBD, it has never crossed the score of 1 from 0 to 35 days. All the time, the maximum scoring we have received is almost around 1, not beyond that, which is close to unvaccinated one. But if you see the other strains, which are hot strains or intermediate strains or the old classical vaccines, the scoring is beyond 3.2, something like, which shows that the bursa is damaged heavily and immune suppression is the consequence. Now, if you see the bursal lesion comparison with other vaccines, we have tried to compare. In the right hand side of the slide, you can see these are the strains we have challenged, and we have seen that how this performance of Vaccitech technology vectored vaccine is compared to other classical first generation or second generation vaccine. More or less, uh, they turn out to be much poor in terms of lesions, bursal lesions compared to Vaccitech. If you see the Vaccitech technology here in the last three, which is compared to the control, and the bursal lesion 7 days after vaccination, it is absolutely great compared to the other strains which are being used. Bursal lesion comparison with immune complex vaccine with Winterfield 2512 strain at day 0 and Vaccitech technology in OVO. If you see the comparison like to like, the scoring lesion in the bursa is more than 2.5 till the day 35 of the vaccination. But with Vaccitech, it is less than 1.5 till the day of 35 vaccination. Now, this is a broad coverage and protection against various types of the strains available in IBD and which are being used as a reference challenge strain, and across the chickens, SPF, layer pullets, broiler, commercial broiler, and these are the references we are quoting here, right from 2006 till date. And vaccine, this turned out to be a wonderful technology where there is absolute protection against all the pathotypes we can we are known as on date in the industry, and this technology is sufficient to take care. This is a very broad protection offering by this technology for this disease. Now, efficacy in commercial broiler, all you have seen earlier is with um, SPF chickens, but what about commercial broiler? Sometimes people ask that in commercial broiler, you can see I have extrapolated three trial results with three different strains: classical F52 by 70, clinical and histology, and then variant strain E, and then VVID, very virulent IBD strain 9116. All of them have proven that the Vaccitech technology was a very early protection against all these IBD strains we challenged compared to the other technologies wherein the response came very late and bursa was. This is a combined vaccine which is again bivalent and Merix inside. MDSP1 vaccine was also incorporated along with this vaccine technology, and we wanted to see the protection against Merix disease, which is very devastating. And this shows that this technology protects against MD using very virulent MD virus challenge. So if you see day 0, day 45, day 49 necropsy, when we did after the challenge, we found out that this technology, this vaccine given by subcutaneous route has absolutely 100% protection compared to the other vaccines used. So these are the broad proven benefits from this new generation cutting edge technology we are offering to the industry, be it in terms of economic benefits. You can save a lot of money, in terms of FCR, in terms of the rearing cost, increased daily weight, productivity, flock uniformity, bursal protection, which is offering you to have your healthy flocks, lower cost of rearing the birds for meat or egg or whatever it is, and then mass weight is also much better in the industry than other technologies of vaccines being used, which is classical. I just wanted to end up my discussion by giving you a visualization of how the bursa looks and what this vaccine can have a great impact in the health of a bird. You can see in my right hand side in the screen Vaccitech being used in the vaccination, and the right hand side on top is the bursal size, the bursa at 28, 21 days and at 40 days. And on the right hand side of the slide is the control, which is, you can compare this, the size of the bursa with the Vaccitech applied vaccine flock are much better, and there is absolutely a healthy bursa, you can get it, and the bursal body weight ratio is the best compared to the other flocks wherein the other vaccines are being used. So this supports the strong immune foundation laid by this vaccine technology we are offering. And in the last, on the commercial side, what this technology has achieved so far in the poultry industry all across the globe, it is more than 130 billion. By now, we are crossing around 140 billion birds vaccinated with this technology. It's known in more than 100 countries, and it's a blockbuster molecule of one shot prevention of against 2 and 3 diseases or more than. Now we have, as I said, IBD, ND, ILD, MD, and all that. There are more than 100 scientific publications available on this technology alone from BI, and we are celebrating the 15th year of technology-driven protection. With this, I thank you very much for listening me very patiently, and I'm open to any questions if this forum has. Sonali, over to you.